Hello, welcome into the Starters Podcast. I'm Dave. With me are George and Simon, as usual. How's it going, boys?
Hello, David.
Loving the hat, George.
Living the dream.
Loving the hat. Loving the results, too, this past
Not so much. Not so much. A rough one. A rough one in Cincinnati.
Fair enough. We won't dwell on it too much.
Or gloat too much.
No. I'm a humble man. I don't gloat too much.
Could have went the other way.
Thank you all for joining in. Follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok, and subscribe to us on YouTube at The Starters 690. And don't forget to listen live on TSN 690, newish time, 10 to noon on TSN 690 Saturdays and Sundays. All right, guys, you ready to roll on this? Let's get this started. First question brought to you by Billy K. Billy K's Burgers. Check him out at Billy K's Burgers on Instagram. Absolutely amazing. I was there again today. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, it's you'll be ashamed of me, Simon, maybe, but another poutine for me today.
David, you keep doing that.
I will. So be sure to follow them at Billy K's Burgers. All right, guys. So NFL, we're into the NFL season, really into the thick of it now, and I just want to know, who are your biggest NFL pretenders so far? One pretender each, please.
Okay, I was torn between two. I was just looking at my notes here. I'm torn, but I'm gonna go, and I like this team. I like their quarterback, but watching them play this year, you kind of go, whoa. And that's the Buffalo Bills, right? I'm looking at a week one versus the Cardinals. Now we'll see. Maybe the season plays itself out and the Cardinals are better than what we thought. They win coming from behind. They beat a Dolphins team. I'll give them that. They beat a Jags team. Not that good at playing football. They get hammered and ridiculed by the Ravens, and they lose a close game against the Texans. But it's the manner in which they lost it was just coaching clinic 101 on how to be terrible at football coaching. So, look, until the Bills show up and start hanging and beating some of the better clubs, I'm going to say it's them. Honorable mention, I had the San Francisco 49ers because blowing a lead against the Rams, not good. Blowing a lead against Arizona, double-digit lead, not just a lead, but a double-digit lead. But I'll just say Buffalo because made a point of tuning in to watch that Ravens and Bills game and stuff like that. Complete letdown. And then last week, the debacle that was their coaching and finishing off that game. So I'll say Buffalo, and you can see them playing in the Super Bowl as well. But right now, I think they're a little bit overhyped.
Fair enough.
Well, this is where Simon and I get into it usually. Definitely not the Bills. The Bills will be okay. They'll figure it out. I just, and he's gonna get on me for this, but the Minnesota Vikings. I'm not impressed when you look deeper into the numbers right now. Brian Flores has that team as the number one defense. I don't know how they're doing it. It seems like smoke and mirrors to me. There's guys having career years all over that team right now through 5 weeks. I don't think it's tenable to continue in that manner. Even against the Jets, that was a couple of plays away from them blowing that game, if not for a late Aaron Rodgers pick, which ultimately cost Robert Saleh his job probably. I just don't think what Minnesota has in terms of at the running back position, their defense that's overachieving right now. They lead in sacks. It's just, I don't think it's a tenable thing. I think it has to do more with the teams they've played. I think it has to do with a favorable schedule and teams just not showing up on game day against them. Even their offense didn't look that good. I think he had 170 yards, Sam Darnold. Look, they're playing great right now. I just don't think they can continue that for the rest of the season. Are they a playoff team? They're a playoff team, but I don't see them getting out of the first round. I just don't see it.
Look, man, I don't know why you question the schedule, the people they've played. Like, you're wrong about that. They beat the Giants, who are not very good, right? But they beat them 28-6. That's what you're supposed to do to a bad team. Yeah. And they beat the Niners, who you have making the playoffs.
Yep.
They beat the Texans, who you have making the playoffs. And they beat the Packers, who you have making the playoffs. So
I'm not. Well, the Packers, Jets, Giants, and a 49ers team that's struggling. That's what they've played. I mean,
it's a formidable schedule here, Georgia. Packers team that won a playoff game last year. It's not like they're a Texans team that's everybody
with a backup quarterback though, with Malik with Malik playing instead of Jordan Love. I believe yes in that game.
No.
He played that game. Okay,
Jordan Love got pick 6 in the end zone.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right.
I think and you go to London and you beat a Jets team that has an elite defense. You can say what you want about the offense, but the Jets defense is elite. So I don't know. They're not playing in an NFC Championship game. I won't be surprised. But right now,
well, every power ranking has them in the top 5 right now, which I can't go along with that. I just don't see that from this team.
Well, you can make a case that they're a better 5-0 team than the Chiefs are a 5-0 team.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. That's definitely wouldn't say that. So
Chiefs are 5-0 because of a pass interference on a 4th and 16. Week number 1, likely toe was out of bounds. That game could have went either way. So the Vikings have won their football game straight up.
All right,
time will tell.
I like this debate. I like it. All right, guys. Question number 2 brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. Be sure to check out their country music night, which are Thursday nights. $18 for a pitcher of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and you get some live country music, which you can't go wrong with. 6 p.m. to close.
Yeah, the Morgan Whalen stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know who's playing tomorrow, but check it out. Check it out. You'll have to go to know, as they say. All right, guys, we'll talk some MLB as I'm looking here. The Yankees beating the Royals right now. The Mets have already advanced. I mean, this is absolutely the miracle Mets, as we call them. And obviously, the Dodgers actually now are up 3-0 on the Padres. Anyways, I just want to know, who are you rooting for in these MLB playoffs? It could be a team or it could be a player itself. Who are you rooting for?
So I'm kind of torn about this one, Dave. Okay.
Right.
So the reason is I'd love to see Dodgers, Yankees, just, the big guns against the big guns. And then I was thinking about it today and I was like, I really like the underdog stories. So I like the Kansas City. I like the Padres. And then I kind of looked at the Padres payroll and they're anything but an underdog. Okay. That's not what I would call an underdog, as they are up in the upper threshold of salaries. So I'm going to stick to my original answer. I want to see the big guns. I want to see the Yankees and Dodgers go in there. I think it would be good for baseball. I think it'd be good for exposure. Don't we want to see Shohei against Aaron Judge? Don't we want to see that? That's dream matchup. Let's do it. So give me those two. Give me a matchup of those two. That's what I'm cheering for. I want to see the big bats versus the big bats. Let's go.
All right.
Battle Royale.
Simon?
I'm with George here. I think if you're a Royals and a Tigers fan, you'd want to watch the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series than rather watching your two teams play. Both great stories, but no, listen. Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, the back and forth MVPs from the National, MVP from the American, the two largest markets in America, two Mount Rushmore sports programs, and I get it. Like Kansas City, I don't know enough about them. I watched him here coming down the stretch. They got that Witt Jr. kid that looks like he's all world. Tigers pull off one of the most unprecedented runs to get into the postseason, and the Mets are literally made for television. Like I was watching the Habs game tonight, and I just flipped it over to see what was going on. I'm like, bases loaded. In my mind, I'm like, that guy's going to hit a ball out of the park because that's all they do. Boom, next pitch, ball out of the park, grand slam. You go back to that play-in, not the kind of was it a play-in? Yeah, the play-in with the doubleheader with the Braves. The way they went on to win in that fashion is just ridiculous. That was a very good Phillies team, but just let's not nobody call these guys like a great Cinderella story. I believe they're the highest payroll in all of baseball. We forget that. Like I said, the Mets and the Yankees spend Yankees and the Dodgers spend mad money, but it is the Mets. So give me a Subway Series, but specifically I'd want a Yankees-Dodgers series because I think that would be great. That would be as polar. Like you get the Far East, Japan element in on that as well. It's going to be crazy.
I agree. All right. I mean, although I would like to see the Padres. The Padres are an underdog story in the sense that they've never, ever won a World Series before.
It's fun to watch too, man. Yesterday, I watched more baseball consecutively yesterday than I've done in the last maybe 15 years. I watched 8 innings. I missed the first inning and I caught the rest. I thought I was on to watching the greatest game ever when it was 6-1 and then it was 6-5. And then there was no more scoring the rest of the game, which I was like a little bit annoyed. But Padres are fun to watch as well.
Yeah, and Tatis Jr., the son of Expos legend Fernando Tatis.
Legend? Oh, I don't know about legend. Okay.
Hey, I was a kid when he came to the team, or I was young. To me, it was the biggest thing because he was a big name when he came to the Expos. So I was very, very excited.
Okay.
I'll always have a soft spot for Tatis Jr., and I think he's a stud. I mean, he was a shortstop prospect. They moved him to third base, and now he's playing right field. He does it all with the bat on the field.
Yeah, and the Padres spend money too. I mean, I mentioned that. So the Mets, Padres, they've spent some cash. So I mean, they're not exactly the Cinderella stories that we'd like them to be. But I digress.
Fair enough. We'll move over to some Habs talk. They opened the season this year. Brought to you by EA Fitness, of course. EAFitness.inc on Instagram. Check them out. They have all sorts of amazing videos. They're still hiring some trainers because they're expanding. Simon, did you go there? Were you there? You weren't there today, right?
Today, no, not on Wednesdays, David. Tuesdays and Thursdays. I will not be there tomorrow.
No.
Habs Bruins, TSN 690 party. So I'm going to take in that and do everything that is anti-working out. Everything the opposite. The complete opposite. Yeah.
I love it. But then you'll work hard on Tuesday. I'm sure they'll work you hard on Tuesday.
100%.
All right, guys. Habs open up the season with a win tonight. 1-0 over the Leafs. Not how everyone had, I guess predicted. I think people would have chose the over on that line there. But anyways, Cole Caufield got goal number 1 out of how many is what basically my question is. I'm going to put the plus minus at 30 goals for Caufield. I want to know what you got. Under, over.
Dave, I'm going to go slightly over. I don't think there's a run here at 40, but I think there's a nice 32, 33, maybe 34 in the making there. They had a 5-on-3 today. They looked absolutely brutal and
abysmal.
I heard during the broadcast, I was watching with a buddy, so I don't know if I was talking or he was talking, but I'm pretty certain I heard they did not score a 5-on-3 goal in an 82-game schedule last year.
Yeah.
That's madness. So wow. But I don't know. I think that there is going to be a progression in that power play. I don't believe it's going to be as bad as it was the last couple of years. If you can go from 28th to 18th, 19th, it means there's about an extra 12 goals, maybe 15 goals. I think some of them fall on Cole Caufield's stick. So I'm not going to hit you with he's going to have a 50-goal campaign, but I'll take over 30 for Cole Caufield this year.
I like it. George?
I'm going to go under.
All right.
And the reason I'm going to go under is basically this hockey game we just watched is kind of an indication of why I think it'll be under 30. The power play looked abysmal, even though they got one on the power play. Just the 5-on-3, I don't even know where to begin. We were talking about it off air, Dave and I. You had Barry Boulay just standing there on the right side. Nobody's getting in front of the net. Have no idea what's going on there. I don't know if they figure that out. It doesn't seem like they will figure that out. Then you just see a team that doesn't score a lot of goals. That was the MO last year. Why would it be any different this year? I just don't think they've done anything to make it so that they score more goals. And if the first game is any indication, where they escaped despite being outshot, badly by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the Toronto Maple Leafs hitting a crossbar, post, and I don't know how many saves Montembeault ended up making, 46, 43, I don't know the exact number.
47, I believe.
So I just can't see Caufield getting to that 30 because I think goals are going to be at a premium for the Montreal Canadiens. Maybe if Patrick Laine comes back healthy, that'll add another forward to the mix. He's also a big guy. Maybe helps the power play, maybe, but still might be too late for 30. So I'm going to say he'll be in the upper 20s, but I don't think he's going to get to 30, unfortunately, Canadiens fans.
All right. We'll keep it question number 4, the Habs. Basically, I want to know.
David, is he over 30?
Sorry?
You think he gets over 30?
I'm going to go. I would have gone with the under as well. I just have a feeling there's going to be, for the first 2 months of the season, they're going to be facing the top line all the time, every single night.
That's the problem.
And I think that their power play isn't improved enough. And again, if it's any indication, and I know they haven't been able to work on it because Marty St. Louis is dealing with a million names of training camp. He has no time to work on the power play, but that power play was scary again. And
I thought the first one was okay. They didn't score, and then they got the goal in the second one, which was a beautiful goal.
Yeah.
And it kind of looks like they used all their tricks in those first two. There was nothing left after that.
That's pretty much it. And that 5-on-3, I mean, just the decision making, they're kind of just everyone's static, as George was saying. And then the decision they finally make is a Matheson shot from the point. Like, what are you?
I was screaming, shoot it. I was screaming, shoot it, because I'm like, just get something at the net here.
Yeah, but he missed the net time, and he missed the net.
Out of the 5 players to shoot, you get the guy who's the furthest from the net, and
he misses the net, and then Ekman Larsson gets a breakaway. I mean, it's just madness.
I don't know Barry Boulet and Gallagher on that 5-on-3. I'm pretty certain I saw them, so I was in a bit of a crowd in a restaurant.
They were there. Yeah, they were there.
No Lane Hudson on that power play.
Again, go Hudson, Matheson, Doc, Caufield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky for the entirety of the 5-on-3. The entirety of the 5-on-3. And if you need to find somebody else, find a body like Armia. Maybe you're trying to jumpstart Josh Anderson.
I believe you got to get someone in front of the net, guys. I just don't understand. I don't understand why there's not a guy at least getting in front of the net trying to cost something.
And Caufield's goal, I mean, it was a good goal, but it was predictable. You could see it coming a mile away, and had Ekman Larsson just lifted his stick a little bit more, you wouldn't have seen that goal.
That's right.
You know what I mean? He kind of got lucky on it, although it was a nice shot. Don't get me wrong.
Look creative, though. Look creative.
It did, I guess. Yeah, sure. All right, we'll go with that. All right, so in order to make the Canadiens won game 1, they have a lot of work to do, and I know that we've discussed in the past that we don't think they're going to make the playoffs. That's the consensus here. But if they were to make a run for it, if they were to make a push for the playoffs and even maybe make the playoffs, who out of the roster needs to step up the most?
A great question, by the way. I think we saw it today. It's Montembeault. Montembeault's got to steal 10 to 15 games, and then the Canadiens could be a playoff team. Yeah, one. I mean, there's 14 to go, but he's got to steal 15 games. Or Primo, whatever. The goaltending tandem has to steal 15 games here, because that's the only way this team can I think compete for a playoff spot, because they just don't have the firepower. They don't have the guys up front. The defense is young. They're gonna make mistakes. Matheson is playing big minutes. So I'm gonna say the goaltenders have to be A and B, and then you're gonna need a career year from somebody up front. Whether it's Suzuki, Caufield, Slavkovsky, somebody's got to be the guy that pushes the Doc, maybe, that can get you 70 points and you weren't expecting it. Those are the things that have to go right for the Montreal Canadiens to get a playoff spot.
Fair enough, Simon.
Yeah, I'll echo what George said. It starts with a save. It just literally starts with a save, giving yourself a puncher's chance. It starts with that. I think they can get it. I've always been pro Montembeault. I think as a team we get better in front of him when it comes to just a little bit of puck possession. Hudson, one day maybe down the road it'll be Mayu, but if not, Struble, Barron, Jack are your bottom guys. A little bit of physicality, a little bit of youth, the ability to skate. I think the team will get better defensively. I think his numbers will get better defensively as well. But he will have to stand on his head. This is going to have to be one of those stories that, we're doing this podcast in January and we're penciling him in without question as Canada's starting goalie.
Yeah,
season. And again, I'll go with Doc. You got to see what you can get out of him. Nice. He played. I thought he was engaged today.
He was good.
A long time, right? Set up the first goal. I thought he was good. Pretty tough assignment as well, whether it's Matthews, Tavares, or Nylander. That's your first game back, and those are some of the centers you were seeing. So I think you need status quo with a little bit of growth from Slavkovsky and Caufield and Suzuki, but then you need somebody to take on. You can't have guys floating around the 40, 45-point mark. Somebody, it's got to be Kirby Doc. I can't see it being anybody else. Got to get into that 60-point mark, and Montembeault standing on his head.
And I'll tell you, Dave, I became a Montembeault fan last week because I didn't know. So I actually met him at the PGA, And,
Oh, nice.
and he's a big dude. Didn't know that. Like he's about 6'3.5", I tell you, at least. He's a big boy. So he plays the part of an NHL goalie, even if you look at him. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Sam Montembeault, I saw him he was with the Panthers playing a preseason game with Montreal. I had tickets right behind the net, first row behind the net. And he looked awful in that preseason game. And then I heard that the Habs claimed him off waivers a few years later. I was working that game, I believe his first game or second game at the Bell Center, and he was awful that game. And I just said, like, man, like this guy would be perfect playing in Montreal in this market, but I don't think he's it. And it's just the evolution he's had in his game since those days. It's absolutely stunning. And he's just, from all accounts, is a great person. I mean, from what you said, George, and you know,
very nice guy, by the way. Spoke to him a few minutes, and a very nice guy, very engaging. So
I heard a couple of guys who've also worked with him and met with him, and he seems like an awesome person. So, I mean, if he could really turn it around, someone I would never think he'd be at the level that he's at now. Now we're talking about Canada, starting Team Canada. Never thought he'd get that.
I give Bergevin credit for that, or wherever the pro scouting was. They saw something there.
Sure.
So good on that. I was making those faces because the Yankees just won, and I saw their closer, and he looks like he's 12.
Yeah, I know.
The guy looked like he was 12 years old, and for fun, he was just throwing 97 miles an hour. He looked like 5'9", 12 years old, and $135, and this guy was just throwing gas. My goodness.
The best. That's what I find watching sports as you grow older. You're just kind of like, is this guy 18? Like, how's
I always felt like that about Tim Lincecum all the time. He looked like a baby out there just throwing fire.
That's funny. All right, and we'll move on to the final question. Of course, the season started. We got it. I have to know. It's brought to you by Vivaldi, by the way. Check them out at Resto Vivaldi. Check out Steve. He just hit 100
global.
100,000 subscribers on YouTube. That means he gets a platinum plaque saying you have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
That's amazing.
Absolutely incredible. His views are in the millions. It's worldwide. He's absolutely doing absolutely amazing. So check him out.
Phone. If we call him, he's going to answer the phone, Dave, or is it going to be like no?
Well, he better answer the phone for me. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know anymore, man.
We don't know. We don't know.
He's a very humble guy, Steve, so don't worry. But check him out. Great food. Best bring your own wine restaurant in the West Island. And check them out because they're getting packed every single day. They're going viral, right? So reservation. Make those reservations. Check them out at Resto Vivaldi on Instagram. All right, guys. Stanley Cup final. Simple question. Who you got? The winner and the final.
Too many people are picking the Oilers. It's ridiculous. It's just I haven't heard one person say it's not going to be the Oilers. So I'm going to tell you it's not going to be the Oilers. I'm going to go a little bit a very good team, a little bit too top heavy, but I can see them making a splash at the NHL trade deadline where the mathematics and the money starts to work just a little bit. They're going to keep their fingers crossed that they get a save here and there. And give me Landeskog back in the lineup. Maybe we'll see. Perhaps I'll go with the Colorado Avalanche as representing the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Finals. And because on the East side, because they have, I think, 77 unrestricted free agents at the end of this year, this is it. Final kick at the can. It's over after this. They're going to break up the band. Give me, Dave, your New York Rangers. So give me Rangers, Avalanche. I think also the Rangers are going to benefit of playing in a division that's not very good. So I think President's Cup home ice can be very attainable. I think the Atlantic will be a beast. So on the eastern side, I can see the Rangers securing home ice early. So I'll go Rangers, Avalanche, and I'll go with the Rangers winning a cup, and then their goalie is going to ask for $15 million a year. That's what I'll go with. Rangers, Avalanche, and Rangers win.
And by all reports, he's already asking for the $15 million. So,
for 12, I think something like that. You know. But I don't know why I guess he wants to get paid. Clearly, he wants to get paid. But the team does have 7 UFAs. Like some of their best players are all UFAs. So you can sign up for that $12 million, and you can be on a really bad team next year. So we'll see.
He's going to be playing somewhere else, what it looks like. So, look, last year I came within 1 goal of picking the NHL. 2 goals. Yes, you're right. 2 goals, the Stanley Cup champion. I'm going to repeat my pick from last year. It will be the Edmonton Oilers. I think you're going to see Edmonton-Dallas again in that Western Conference final. I really do like Dallas's team. If anybody beats the Oilers, it's going to be Dallas. But I'm going to go with McDavid. I think he's due. In the East, I think it's pretty wide open in the East. I think there's a few teams that could do it. I'm going to go a little bit off the board, and I'm going to say an aging team that somehow finds ways to make the playoffs and make a little bit of noise in the playoffs. I'm going to say the Tampa Bay Lightning. Somehow, some way, no Stamkos, are going to find a way to get back to the Stanley Cup final for one more kick at the can before Hedman and the rest of the gang is a little too old to get there. So give me the Oilers in 6 against the Lightning.
All right. I like it. By the way, Simon, Luke Weaver, he's 31 years old.
He looks 12. Are you sure you got the right guy, dude?
We're checking IDs, guys. We'll be checking IDs.
He's a Yankee, so he was freshly shaven and everything.
Yeah.
But you have his stats in front of him, Dave?
His stats?
No, I don't want his stats. His size. How big is this dude? Dude looked like 130 pounds.
Oh, he's let me see here. I don't have his stat. Give me a second. Luke Weaver. Height and weight.
He's their closer? Clearly, he's their closer.
He's not technically their closer, but he's 6'2", 183. 183.
He looked a little.
So wrestling numbers, guys. Wrestling numbers. Okay.
Well, not the weight.
Yeah. He looked lankier than that. He looked lighter than that, but so 6'2", 183.
183. 183 is my dream weight. I'm 5'7".
I know. He was throwing gas, man. He was throwing fire. It was crazy, but not him, man.
Yeah, he's good. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. That was a lot of fun. And as always, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, anywhere you want. Subscribe to us on YouTube at The Starter 690, and be sure to check us out, TSN 690, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to noon, live. Thanks, boys.
Have a good night, guys.
Dave,